people went through. And the Egyptians made the big mistake to follow, and that was the end of them. Hashem made the waters go back and drowned the Egyptians, and now the Jews were free from the Egyptians totally, from their physical bondage that we're in, at least. So they had to get rid of the spiritual slave, well, I should maybe call it spiritual effect that they had on the Jewish people. That took a little time, but the physical slavery, they're totally free from now. And the end of the parasha talks about the Jews were attacked by Amalek. Amalek, unbelievably, was the real grandson of Avram Avinu, because Avram Avinu had a son Yitzchak, and Yitzchak had a son Esav, and Esav had a son Eliphaz, and from Eliphaz came Amalek. Amalek were these arch enemies of the Jewish people. They tried to wipe them out, and so many times they tried to kill us. And we're very sure that we know that Haman came from Amalek. He tried to kill all Jewish people, everybody, men, women, and children. And we're sure that Hitler, Yamach Shemai, Mezichvai, was also from Amalek, also tried to kill the Jews, men, women, and children. We have a mitzvah in the Torah that we're supposed to wipe out Amalek, men, women, and children. That we should not leave any zecher of Amalek. They should be totally wiped out and taken away from the face of the earth. But don't think it's the same type of mitzvah that the Germans had in mind or the Hamas has in mind today. Totally different idea. As far as Hitler was concerned, he wanted to kill the Jews, period. No escape and no way out. That's not the way we treat Amalek. The only time we kill Amalek is only if they are up to their evil ways and evil actions. But Rambam tells us that if Amalek keeps the 7 Noahide laws, then there's no mitzvah for us to wipe out Amalek from the face of the earth. Only if they keep their wicked ways of life, of killing and stealing, and the 7 Noahide laws, if they're not willing to accept those 7 decent laws that anybody should keep, even if he wouldn't be commanded to do. Just plain, simple menschlichkeit, being a human being, to act like a human being. If they won't accept that even, then we have a mitzvah to erase them from the earth. But if they accept the 7 Noahide laws, there's no mitzvah for us to. As a matter of fact, if they want to become Jewish, we'll accept them. Amalek, the Amalekim who became Jewish, they're accepted by the Jewish people. So that was not the idea of that Russia we mentioned. I had to mention his name, but we know what we're talking about. The one who tried to kill the Jews in the Second World War. There was no escape from him, no way to, from his plan to kill all the Jews. There's no way out, no matter what they would do. So let's not put together the mitzvah that we have to wipe out Amalek with the terrible decrees that the Amalekim did against the Jews. He wanted to kill all the Jews, men, women, and children. Haman wanted to do the same thing. And that's what we're suffering from many generations. People try to kill us all the time. But Hashem saves us from their hands. But here we have the story, very quick and very, very summary of what happened when the Jews left Egypt and they were attacked by Amalek. And Amalek tried to kill them. The reason they tried to kill us is nothing more than the hate for the Jewish people. There was no real reason for them to attack us. As the pasuk mentions, we're under, like the Malbim talks about, we're under some people attack other countries because they want to get more land. but the Jews were not in their land. They were on the derech. They were traveling from Egypt to the Holy Land. There was no land to be gained by the Amalek to attack them. And maybe you'll say they wanted to get to fame. Some great kings wanted to show how strong they are, and they could overcome other kings to show the strength. But here, they attacked them. The Jewish people were weak. A lot of them they weren't warriors. They weren't their slavery in Egypt all the years. They weren't a great people. It wouldn't be considered a great victory of a bravery of the Amalekim to overcome the Jews, because the Jews were weak as far as warfare is concerned. So that wouldn't be a reason for it. And maybe because they wanted to show their God is stronger than our God. But they didn't have they didn't believe in. They didn't have any God. They were not worshiping any God. They believed in God, by the way. They believed that God created the world. Believe it or not, but he believed that he left it up to people. Do what you want. It's your world. You want to make it good, make it bad. I'm not mixing in. That's what they believed in. There is a God, they believe, but he doesn't care about what's going on. He doesn't know about it, doesn't care about it. So it wasn't that they wanted to show God was greater than the other gods, because they loved the other. They had no fear of God. They were not worshiping any God. So there was no real reason why Amalek attacked the Jewish people, only because of the hate of Jews. They didn't want to get rid of them. Why? It's hard to understand. People are very bad, and they have very little good in them, so it bothers them that other people in the world are good. So they want to get rid of them because they won't have any gain, maybe because it soothes their conscience a little bit, because they have no real reason why they're living. They have no real goals to attain, and Jewish people are thriving and happy, and that probably is a reason why we're attacked by so many of our enemies. But they don't have any real reason why the Germans didn't have any real reason why they're persecuting the Jews, killing the Jews, persecuting the Jews. Haman didn't have any real reason either, but just because he wants to get rid of them. They're a nuisance to them. They're guilty conscience to them, and that's the evil within them that wants to eliminate and annihilate the Jewish people. So therefore, Hashem tells us that we have to get them first before they get us. They have a din of a raidif. It's called a raidif. We've mentioned a few times in the past that if somebody's coming after somebody else to try to kill them, he'd kill them first before they have a chance to do it. So Ruvain turning after Shimon to kill him. Levi sees it allowed to kill Ruvain. They tried to kill him. He's not to kill Shimon. He tried to kill somebody else. He had no right to live. Why should you kill somebody else? Who you're greater than he is? It doesn't make any sense. So Hashem tells us to get rid of Amalek because they're trying to get rid of you. And like we see all the generations, you have people standing up, coming from Amalek, trying to kill the Jewish people. So there Hashem says we should kill them first before they kill us. And but really it goes much deeper than that, because we have a mitzvah every year to read this portion of the Torah that talks about Amalek that we're just discussing now. And we should remember Tim Chazayich Amalek, we should remember to wipe out the thought of Amalek. They should be in the world to be pointed at, or to be friendly with. We want to get rid of Amalek because they're trying to get rid of us. They have done a raidif, and even the children, it's in their genes to kill the Jewish people, and that's why the Torah says we have to get rid of Amalek. But this goes much deeper than that. The Torah wants us to get rid of our evil that's within us, because if a person is born in this world, he has a challenge of evil within every person. Even the Jewish people have a neshama, they have a great soul that's very holy and very close to Hashem, but we have within ourselves, in our bodies, that Hashem made us very animalistic and very away from holiness, our body. If we don't do the right things to change it, I feel that there's a lot of evil within us, that bad character traits that we have to work on, and killer jealousy of other people, and all the different things we talk about all the time, of laziness and stinginess and all kinds of things that we shouldn't be doing, and our body pushes us to do, wants us to do all kinds of things that we should keep away from. So when we talk about Timcha Zeicha Amalek, we're supposed to think to ourselves to get rid of those things within us that should not be there. Zeicha Amalek, that's the Zeicha Amalek. It's a thought of Amalek, the remnants of Amalek within us. That Hashem put in every Jewish person, even though we're full of kedusha, holiness, and godliness, but we have something to work on in this world, just like we have a mitzvah of circumcision. That even though God created the person's body with full of knowledge and so full of unbelievable capabilities that we all have with ourselves, but still we have the mitzvah of milad to cut off part of the body which is considered representing the evil in the person, the oral, like our heart is blocked. Oral means blocked. We have our hearts are blocked. We take out the blockage of the circumcision, and we take it away, and take with that blockage the same way in our hearts as blockages of amidas, or things that we have to get rid of. So even though Hashem made us full of knowledge and goodness, but we have to work on making it complete, a shalom. He gave us the last step on our bodies to complete it. The same way in our actions and our way of serving Hashem, there's blockages and there's things that keep us away from Hashem, and we have to work on getting rid of those things, those small things, relatively small compared to the greatness of a person. So he left the last final touches for us to complete ourselves and to make ourselves great without any bad character traits or bad thoughts or whatever is not Torah ideas and philosophy. We have to work on ourselves and make that final step of completion in order for us to become close to Hashem in the world to come without any, holding us back from getting close to Him, getting the reward that we're getting. So when we talk about get rid of Amalek, and we have to think to ourselves that Amalek, that's within us, and the evil within us, we have to get rid of it totally, and in order to serve God the way we should. And we should learn from Amalek. Amalek, just like they have their idea to wipe the Jews off the face of the earth, that's how we have to learn from them, to wipe the evil from the face of the earth. We can learn that something, a lesson from the evil of Amalek, that they're so anxious to wipe out the Jewish people, men, women, and children, just like in Germany said, that Hamas we're talking about, and others what Hamas is trying to do, that they we say in our Tilm, well, Hashem Yisrael, they don't want the name of Israel to be remembered anymore. Zecher Yisrael, they want to get rid of us altogether, totally. And we have to learn from them. Learn from them that we have to eliminate the evil to the furthest extent possible, to uproot it to as deep as possible within ourselves, with our surroundings, and to eliminate evil to the fullest extent possible until it's eliminated from the world. And that's something we can learn from Amalek, from the evil, to turn it around and make it into something that has a reality in our lives. Even though to them it's totally evil, we turn it around and learn we have to do something the same way, but totally for a different goal. They're trying to get rid of holiness in the world. They're trying to get rid of the Jewish people. We're the holy people in the world. Without us, the world is totally tamei, full of evil, and they're trying to get rid of kedusha, holiness. Totally, we have to turn around to get rid of of evil in the world totally, and make the world holy and without any evil whatsoever. Another thing we could learn from Amalek, a very, very important lesson, is that one thing that the Torah says that Amalek that they called you off on the way. One translate kar, it's cooling off. What does that mean? They called us off. So Rashi brings the famous Rashi that it's a parable to. They had a big vat of hot water that everybody was afraid to jump into, because if you jumped into that vat of hot water, you'd get burnt to death. And nobody would dare to jump in. One clever man, one wise guy came along and jumped in, and he got burned. But he cooled it off for other people. Once he went in and heat went into him, a lot of the heat was taken off, and it made it cooler for other people to jump in. So even though he got really no benefit from jumping in, he just got burned and killed himself by it, or very badly burned, but he made it for other people cooler for them to be able to jump into it. So we say that when the Jews left Egypt, they were very hot, meaning they were very strong in their reputation to the world. Everybody's afraid to start up with them. They saw what happened to Mitzrayim. They were there for those years, and then Mitzrayim got all the plagues, and then when they left Mitzrayim, they were all drowned in the Red Sea. So people were afraid to start up with them. They saw that Hashem's making things happen, which is unnatural. Things happening to them to save them, spilling the sea and making water into blood. God's been great miracles for the Jews. They're all afraid to start up with the Jews. Amalek came along and said, "No, it's not. It's kishif. They're making a sorcery. Moshe Rabbeinu knows how to make all kinds of magic, black magic. That's not the God. So we don't have to be afraid of him." And therefore, they started up with the Jews. So even though they got punished by it, and they got burned by it, and they were defeated, and Yeshua led the Jewish people against them and was successful and victorious over them, but still they opened up the door for other people. If Amalek did it, so you see, they weren't afraid. So other people also were made less afraid to start up with him, even though Amalek was eliminated, well, not totally eliminated, but to a certain extent. They were weakened by the Jews. They weakened them, but they made it easier for other people too. But from here we can learn a very, very important lesson, that in a day-to-day life, we'll say if you happen to be a person who studies Torah, and you might come to a study hall, a base medrash, where a lot of people are learning, and the sound of Torah is very strong. And one wise guy comes in and he starts talking about who knows what. Starts talking about things that are not Torah subject. And he gets other people involved in the conversation. And here you have everybody's real hot, and they're real strong into studying Torah, and they're enjoying it, and they were totally engrossed in studying Torah. And this wise guy comes in and he pulls it off. He starts talking about who knows what, sports, maybe he's talking about, even about Hamas, even Israel, maybe. It's not time to talk about it now. We're in the middle of studying Torah. So one person come in, and even though there's people that are very hot, in other words, they're very into studying Torah, very engrossed in your studying Torah, there's one person come along and he can make them, cool them off, and get them to start choosing about things that are not important, or not important enough to stop doing Torah, but at least. And that's what Amalek did. They They came in and cooled everybody off. The Jews were hot. Everybody was afraid to start up with them. Don't worry, it's not so bad. You can start up with them. It's not God's not their side. Moshe Rabbeinu is a great magician, making all these things happening. You don't have to be so afraid of it. So this is something we have to be very careful. And whatever the situation is, if people are engrossed in something important, even the shul, people are praying. And some people come and start talking in the middle of davening, reading the Torah in Shabbos. People start listening to the Torah. And every word of Torah is a mitzvah. And it's very important for us to listen and take it to heart. But then those people start talking in the middle of the Kriyas Torah, in the middle of the davening, they talk and they distract other people. And you say, which help person, but you want to do what Amalek? I mean, like Amalek does, chas v'shalom. Well, that's what the person is doing in a way. He's doing what Amalek did, he's cooling people off from the important thing that they're involved in. And that's a big avera called asktherabbi. You make many people do a sin. It's bad enough to make one person do a sin. Make a lot of people do a sin. That's very bad. So here people can be like Amalek in that way. That to get people, call people off from doing the good thing that they want to do. We also learned other lessons from learning from Amalek, because it says that Moses sent Joshua to lead the attack against Amalek. He led the Jews against Amalek, and Moshe Rabbeinu went up on the mountain, and he raised up his hands to Hashem. He stood down with the hands raised up, to pray to Hashem that the Jewish people should be able to overcome Amalek, try to attack them first. And it says, but the hands of Moshe became heavy. He couldn't keep them high up, and they had to come and help him hold his hands up. It says prayers should go to Hashem by having his hands up. They think about Hashem. Your heart goes after your hands, after your body. And the heart is just, we're thinking lofty hearts. We want to keep our hands in a lofty way to think about Hashem. The hands became heavy. He couldn't hold his hands up so long. They'd come and help him but keep his hands up. So Rashi brings over there, why did that happen? Something must have done something wrong. And so Rashi says, because he sent Yeshua to fight Amalek. It was a mitzvah for fight Amalek, and Moshe Rabbeinu, he should have gone by himself to do it. Why send somebody else to? If it comes to a mitzvah, you should do it by yourself and not tell somebody else to do it. And because he didn't act that way like he should have gone himself and led to fight. He should have sent Yeshua to do it. So therefore, his hands became heavy. That's like it probably is meter can against meter. It's a measure for a measure. It should have gone with his hands fighting against Amalek. Those hands that should have been taking the weapons and fight against them. Since he didn't do it, his hands became heavy. His hands became weak. He wasn't able to pray the way he wanted to. With his hands up high, he needed help from others to keep his hands high. And this is something we have to think to ourselves also, that we come to do a mitzvah. Let's do it by ourselves. They say, well, let him do it. Somebody else do it. Comes to helping, and if Yeshua needs some help for some reason, so he said, let the other people do it. And if it's a mitzvah to help somebody, we should do it by ourselves. We find in the Gemara that many of the great rabbis used to do things for Shabbos. They could have helped their other people do it, their wife or other people in the house that were working there. But they did it by themselves. They salted the fish themselves, or they cut up the vegetables by themselves. Don't send somebody else to do it. You should do it by yourself. And that's what we're supposed to learn from that to ourselves, our daily life. If it comes to do a mitzvah, let's do it with our own body and not to have somebody else do it, because we should have such a slavu, such a great feeling and such a great understanding what a mitzvah is. So we shouldn't tell somebody else to do it. And if we had somebody, one of our Kids, one of our grandchildren come, we want to give them a hug. So tell somebody else, give them a hug, do it for me. You want to do it yourself? You want to have the chavivus, you have the love for the child, for the grandchild. You don't tell somebody else to give him a hug. Well, what's the difference? He's getting a hug. What's the difference? I do it, he does it. No, you want to do it yourself because it's something that's so important to you, so beloved to you. So you want to do it by yourself. That's number one. And number two, Targum says a different reason why Moshe Rabbeinu's hands became weak is because he put it off for tomorrow. He's mochar to Yeshua, go tomorrow and fight Amalek. And we say to him, why are you saying for tomorrow? Mitzvah al tach mitzena. If you have a mitzvah comes to you, so don't push it off for a different time. Do it right away. Shmarta samatzos. Just like when it comes to matzah, if you leave it stand, it becomes chametz. You have to be careful to right away put the flour and the water together. You have to mix it and put it in the oven before it becomes chametz. The same when it comes to a mitzvah. The same way, the same thing. If we have a mitzvah comes to us, we're not supposed to be lazy. Somebody needs our help. Well, put it up till tomorrow. And then I don't feel like it today. I'm doing something else. Do it right away. Don't push it off, whatever it might be. If you want to study Torah, I'll do it later. Now I'm not busy doing who knows what. Don't push it off till later because later never come. You'll be busy with something else later. But we're supposed to think of every mitzvah that comes to our hand that shouldn't make it chametz. We shouldn't make it push it off, and as if it's not that important to us. It's if somebody want to make $1 million, no, I'll make it later. I'll wait till tomorrow to make it. You run with all your might. The person would want to make the $1 million because something that he likes so much, he wants to have it in his pocket already. He doesn't want to wait for later, for tomorrow, for sure not, even for later on the day. First will do it right away, something that you really like very much. You don't push off for a different time. So this is what we have to also learn from this Parsha of Amalek. When we come to a mitzvah to do it, we should look at the mitzvah like the million, that's worth more than $1 million because the reward for the world to come, it's worth much more than any amount of money possible, a mitzvah for us to do. So it's very foolish a person push off a mitzvah. If he's able to do it right away, that's why Moshe Rabbeinu, he's weakened because he didn't do the mitzvah right away, and therefore he was pushed off from the mitzvah he was doing because his hands became weak and he was able to fulfill it right away. But the praying from Klal Yisrael, praying for the Jewish people. So there's a lot to learn from the Parsha of Amalek that we're talking about. There's more things to do, and also maybe we'll come to before Purim. Maybe we'll talk about it again, or maybe next year again. But there's enough things for us to work on to make sure that we don't make other people cool off other people who are hot doing something good, and not to distract them, and do it right away. Don't push it off, and don't tell somebody else to do it, and all the things we talked about, and to make sure that we want to get rid of all the evil within ourselves, to work on ourselves, any bad character trait, to try to uproot it, not to be lazy, not to be stingy, not to be aloof from other people, and to be good Jews. That's what we should learn from this Parsha of Amalek.